few years ago, my father apologized for my childhood. I was cleaning my apartment, and the phone rang, and I did something very uncharacteristic. I saw it was him, and I answered. And he said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the way I treated you. I'm sorry for how things went when you were a kid. And I said something like, that's cute, Dad. That's cute. I don't really remember what I said, but I really remember Dad saying, I was worried about what other parents would think of me because of who you are. I was worried that other parents would judge me because you are who you are. Every day, online, I get messages from teens mostly, sometimes adults too, saying, I was going to try suicide, and I decided to stick around because I read your tweet, because I saw your video, because a friend sent me something you wrote on Instagram. They always say the same thing. They say, if you can be yourself, so can I. And that's what I want to teach you about today. You might have noticed politics have not gone the way that a lot of us would have liked them to have gone recently. And so many of my friends feel utterly out of control and chaotic. We are beautiful, liberal, progressive people. And because of that, we feel things. That's our deal. We feel. We cry liberal tears, right? That's us. And so when the election happened, many of us flung ourselves all over the place. We want to help the planet and reverse climate change if we can. We want to help immigrants and refugees feel welcome. We want to help LGBTQ people have a place in society. We want women to have equal status. And I watched all of my friends try to do everything at once. You end up feeling worn out. But I have the answer for you today. The thing you were taught is most wrong with you is your greatest asset as an activist. The thing you were taught to hide and feel shame about is what is going to make you a potent activist moving forward. It's going to start a new age for you in activism. If it's not clear already, did you see the shoes? Did the cameras get the shoes? Get a close-up? They're Manolos. If you didn't If you didn't notice, my thing is being queer, right? So I was taught as a kid to hide who I am, to hide how gender fluid I am, to feel shame and to feel awful. And today, it feels a little funny to phrase it this way, but I'm the poster child for being queer. That's what I do on the internet. And if I can be myself, so can you. I've been Buddhist for 15 years, and in the tradition I study, Zen Buddhism, we ask you to have your own experience. So this evening, I would like to walk you through an experience. Close your eyes. It is a public space. If you don't feel comfortable closing your eyes, you can glance at your kneecaps or your shoelaces. But begin to draw as much attention as you can to your breath and your breathing. What muscles are involved? How does it feel to be a human being, to be alive? And breathe. What does it feel like as the breath enters your body, fills your body, and leaves your body? As you are sitting there, gently breathing, allow to arise for you a memory of a time when you were too much for someone else. See if you can think of a time, recall a time when you got the message that you were too much. Any memory will do. It's not a contest. For some people, it's something that happened last week or years and years ago. People often tell me it's a past romantic partner or a parent. Any memory will do. Begin to fill in some of the details. Do you remember what you were wearing? What was the weather like that day? What did it feel like to get that message? One more thing. Can you get a sense as you're sitting there of what you were too much of? Fill in the blank. Too much blank. Too blank. And then as easy and gently as you can, bring the attention back to the breath, to the breathing. Just watching that easy in and out. Loosening the shoulders, letting the jaw relax. Take one more nice, long, deep breath. And on that exhale, open your eyes. All right, what did you get? Too what? Shout it out. This is the participation part. Too much what? What? Dramatic. Oh, dramatic. Story of my life. Someone else, yes? Too silly. Yes, I love it. Too needy. Who was that? I love you. That is also me, too needy. Someone else? Too loud. What's your name? Jasmine. Repeat after me. I'm Jasmine. I'm too loud. I'm here to save Planned Parenthood. Yeah, exactly. So whatever it was that you learned is the thing that's too much about you can be bent, can be flipped, can be loved, can be accepted, and can become the basis for your activism. If you were told you're too loud, you need to be the one on the front lines screaming. You ready? Yeah. If you were told you're too needy, you need to take that empathy, right? You need to take what you have learned from being too needy and use it to care for the needs of others. Bronnie Ware is the name of an author, and she was also a palliative care nurse. She worked with people who were dying, and she wrote a brilliant, brilliant book. I want you to Google it after the talk. And the book is called Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. So she was working with these dying people, and she interviewed them and asked them all about their regrets. And the number one regret was, I wish I had had the courage to live a life that was true to myself and not the life other people wanted me to live. Do you realize this is your moment? This is your chance. Out of the chaos will come a spark that gives you the platform to change this world. I didn't think I was going to say this next part, but here it comes. When I was a kid, there were times when my dad tried to beat the queer out of me. This is not a time to sleep. There are people in this world that need you to be yourself to show them it's possible. I work with GLSEN, GLSEN, the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network, and they make sure schools are safe for everyone around the country. And as part of that work, they do a school climate survey. And in their last survey, they found that 1 in 10 kids in elementary school was identified by their peers or their teachers as falling outside the traditional norms for their gender. So, in other words, the peers and the teachers identified other kids, 1 in 10, as being gender nonconforming. And those gender nonconforming kids, like me, those gender nonconforming kids were almost twice as likely to be bullied at school, sometimes by their teachers. We need you. There are people that need to know the metaphor, right? You need to put on your Manolos, whatever form that takes, and help. It's urgent. A couple of stories before we leave, before we have wine and cheese today. I don't know if you heard. It's a big deal. Before we have wine and cheese, the first one's about Bette Davis. Bette Davis was this big, huge actress in old Hollywood, and she was being interviewed by Barbara Walters. And Barbara Walters, in her beautiful Barbara Walters way, she says to Bette Davis, "Give me 5 words to describe Bette Davis." And without skipping a beat, Betty goes, "I am just too much." I can relate. Yes, snaps for Bette Davis. And the other story before we go is about Gore Vidal. Gore Vidal was being interviewed for a magazine, and the interviewer said, "When you lost your virginity," is anybody looking to go into public life, by the way? Because they'll ask you these questions. Trust me. So the interviewer said, "When you lost your virginity, did you lose it to a man or to a woman?" And Gore Vidal said, "I was too polite to ask." Well, that's a slow burn, isn't it? Yes. Yes. What happened back then, right? What was done to you is nobody's business, right? That's between you and your parents, and I don't know what your spirituality is, right? Between you and God, or you and the Spirit, whatever that is. That stuff's nobody's business. What you do with what's been done to you is the world's business. That is your chance right now. This, I don't know what your spirituality is, but if you were looking for a sign, right? This is it. This is the time. And this is your moment of destiny. Thank you.
We ordered different drinks at the same bars.